Good evening, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Hope Akedika show. And yes, we are live right now. However, we are practically viewing an hour late because due to some technical difficulties, but we're here, we've persevered because we're committed to this. Okay, guys, we are committed to this, and no technical difficulties could stop us from being here right now in this moment because every week there's something important to share, and we were not going to miss the opportunity to bring you guys up to date with what's going on, and also just to give you an opportunity to have thoughts on the things that take place in our community, whether it's nationally, locally, or even internationally. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, this weekend is going to be a bank holiday weekend, and for the very reason because we're having a coronation in the UK, King Charles and Queen Camilla too. People think this is just a celebration for King Charles, but no, the Queen is very much included in the celebration. But here's a quick clip, and a lot of people will say, why is the King or Queen important? Why are they relevant? They're just there for decoration now. What does the royal family, bring to the table? Essentially, people want to know why the royal family exists, and this clip might help you with that.
What does the King actually do? On Saturday, King Charles III will be crowned at Westminster Abbey. He's officially the UK's head of state, but his powers are largely symbolic. He's expected to remain politically neutral, but he does meet with the Prime Minister every week. These meetings are totally private, and there is no official record of what is said. He also gets daily briefings and documents from the government in a red leather box. And the King has to formally approve new legislation for it to become law. If there's a general election, it's the monarch that has to invite the winner to form a government. Now, away from Westminster, the King hosts visiting heads of state, regularly meets with foreign ambassadors, and will go on state visits to other countries too. Oh, and he's also head of the Commonwealth, an association of 56 independent countries spanning 2.5 billion people. Does the King...
For a figure who's symbolic, he sure is busy, or they sure are busy. As you can see, the monarch at the head of state is very much involved in our political affairs, and they have they're expected to remain neutral, politically neutral. Whatever government is in office, they support them and they act as an advisor. So King Charles now acts as an advisor to the Prime Minister. He listens to what they've discussed, and whatever happens in that weekly meeting, like she said, it's not disclosed to the public. It's just a meeting that has to take place on a weekly basis. And obviously state visits and meeting with ambassadors all around the world, especially with the Commonwealth and other countries where the royal family is deemed to have a certain level of importance or relevance there. And my take on the Commonwealth, there's a lot of people who are not happy about this celebration taking place because it's going to cost the British taxpayers how much is it going to cost them? 2.5 million it's costing, isn't it? It's going to cost British taxpayers, 250 million. Not me cutting it down to 2.5. 250 million pounds it's going to cost for this celebration to take place. And 250 million is a lot of money, but this is an important role as well. I'm thinking they must have calculated the crown he's going to wear in this. That should cost a few millions on its own, and that's not something that's been created off the bat. It's actually a crown that has been in the royal family for a very long period of time, and obviously the royal carriages as well. I'm guessing, I don't know if that's included in the sum. However, there is the concert that is taking place on the Sunday, and artists such as Tiwa Savage, Lionel Richie will be performing, and people are like, why is Tiwa Savage performing there? Tiwa Savage, if you don't know, she's a Nigerian artist. However, she's relatively British. I believe she lived in the UK or in London for a period of time, although she's a Nigerian artist. And there are people who are like, what are you doing performing at the king's coronation, at the colonizer's coronation? And I don't know, I think if somebody got an opportunity like that, it's once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, it's a platform, and it's something that you can only do once in your life. Like Lionel Richie, is a close friend of the royal family, and he's only ever got to do this once in his lifetime as well. And it's very much true that it is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but people are saying that there are people like Adele who have refused to perform at the coronation. And Adele is a British woman of white heritage, and she has refused to perform at the coronation. So why on earth did Tiwa Savage accept the invitation? But each to their own. That is what's happening. The coronation will be broadcasting and airing. As of Friday, there will be coverage concerning the royal family and the coronation on the BBC. I'm sure on the television, on the radio platforms, on the BBC iPlayer, on BBC Sounds, wherever it is that you intake your entertainment or your information, the BBC will be very much covering. And the main event will be happening on Saturday at 11 a.m. if you're interested in tuning in. Personally, I will tune in, not because I'm woohoo in great celebration. I'm not for or against. I sit in a very, in a place of, well, the royal family is symbolic at this point, because what has happened has happened. What took place in history has took place. And all people ask for is reparation. And have we seen enough of that? I don't believe so. But the royal family exists at the end of the day. And as much as people say dissolve the royal family, realistically, is that going to happen? I don't know if it's going to happen in this generation. And a lot of people are rooting for William to serve one day as well. They want to see him be king. So, if you are interested in tuning in and see what's going on with the royal family, it will be very much be happening. It's going to be a celebration weekend. People will go out and celebrate anyway, because people need a reason to be outside. People will take this as an opportunity to be outside, drinking, meeting up with friends, and it's a bank holiday weekend as well. So, if you see that as celebrating what's happening at the coronation, or if it's just people taking full advantage of the atmosphere of celebration in the air, then each to their own. But where I stand with the Commonwealth. I genuinely believe that the Commonwealth should be dissolved. And this is nothing against the royal family, but Commonwealth just was like a continuation of colonization. It made it seem as though, we are no longer oppressors, we are now partners. But that is not a partnership. That is not a partnership. It can't be a partnership. Like it doesn't even make sense, because it's about the British Emperor continuing to survive and being, a leader over countries, as if they don't have the ability to be democratic or to run their own country without, being told what to do by, the British Empire. I genuinely believe that it's just a big thing that continue to keep colonization alive, and it should no longer exist. And it should be done in good faith that yes, we are truly past that time and era as a whole, as the world. We are past that time, and in good faith the Commonwealth should be dissolved. And there are countries who want out. There are countries who want out, such as Jamaica, thinking of as early as 2024. They say that they hope to break ties with the Commonwealth, and that's not respectfully, because they felt like, a lot of people felt after the Queen Elizabeth had passed, it was just, it was about time. It was the right thing to do. A lot of it went on out of respect for her and for the love for Her Majesty. But now it's time to give it up, because there's even an article that was reported in Australia. There is no sight of a celebration of the coronation whatsoever, and there are young people who don't even know how the Commonwealth affects them or their nation. That means like there's a disconnect there. People don't even understand the relevance of a Commonwealth existing, but it has influence in their politics and in their government, but people don't recognize that. So for me personally, it should be something that we can be moved past now. Secondly, speaking of our government here in the UK, the Labour Party leader recently spoke on radio, and this is what he had to say. he didn't really have much to say for himself because, it was he was talking to yeah, here we are.
I think we are going to set out a fairer solution. And Justin, so
But it won't be the abandoning of tuition fees, will it?
well, we are likely to move on from that commitment
Right.
because we do find ourselves in a different financial situation. But I don't want that to be read as us accepting for a moment that the current system is fair or that it's
Yeah.
working,
No,
because I do think there are other ways of
you want
approaching
to come
this.
up with other things, but you're being quite clear. You are going to move on from that pledge.
Sir, Sir Keir Starmer has just said that tuition fees will not be, abolished. Well, surprise, surprise. Like, the man he was just saying anything, wasn't he? He was saying anything to get the people's vote, or to get that position to be the Labour leader of the party leader, and essentially to be prime minister. Like, how is that even legal? How can a member of parliament just come out with the most absurd things, such as saying, oh, when I'm in power, this and this is not going to happen anymore. I'm going to take this away. I'm going to take away tuition fees. People pay 9 grand a year and more to get degrees, and you're telling them that if you were in power, you can take that away overnight. Like, the fact that he was even able to say that in the first place is just, no wonder people don't trust politicians. Like, how is he allowed to get away with that? You shouldn't even be saying that in the first place when you know. I mean, yeah, you get your budget, but is that realistic? Like, is that even, it's a very unrealistic promise to make. And if we are going to be having this rapport of, a rapport is a relationship that entails trust between two people, and if there's going to be any level of trust with the politicians and the civilians and everyday people, then we should be able to tell us the truth, tell us the most realistic things. Don't tell us things that are not true. And he's gonna revoke that statement now that we're getting closer to elections. How long before elections? January 2025, I believe they said, is the latest they want for it to go before an election is held. And it's been a long time since we've been able to vote for a prime minister. Like, I don't think people have actually deeped how long it's been since we've actually had a proper election. Like, democracy was dying. I don't even want to exaggerate, but the whole point of democracy is that people have a say on who their leader is. But at the moment, conservative took over at an awkward time, I suppose. And leaders have come and gone, come and gone, come and gone, and they've had to fill that position with other members from their party. But in that time, the people's right to vote was essentially, it was kind of taken away from us a little bit. Like, yeah, you had us voting a little bit, but not really, not really. So I just think he's just trying to make right, trying to rearrange his promises and realign his agenda that he's going to come up with and run with. And people love the Labour Party. It's the party that fights for the people, for the ordinary people. They're the ones who say they stand in the gap for the minority, the working class, the disadvantaged in society. So we have to trust them. We have to believe that they have good intentions for us. And I really hope that he has a good run through of his whatever he's going to bring to the table, when it comes to the election time. I hope that he really thinks about this thoroughly and is just not making false promises. If anything, I don't know. The Labour Party, personally, for me, I don't know. They could do better. Starmer doesn't have to be the one. For me personally, he does not have to be the one that we see in office, potentially, in the next election. I feel like Labour could do better. We've had better. We don't need politicians who are very unrealistic and just saying anything to win people over. We are way past that as a society. We know better now. People are not easily wooed and wowed anymore. So definitely have to do better there. And another topic that I found quite interesting, but not surprised due to the nature of how society has taken a turn when it comes to the home and family life. Um, it's been reported that London is experiencing its lowest number of children in primary schools at the moment, and primary schools are struggling to remain open due to the shortage of students being enrolled into primary schools. And some schools are due to close in the near future as a result as well. And this is no surprise because obviously, this is a very common discussion, especially over social media. Women are very, honest and about how they feel about having children, and a lot of women have put that off. And also, a lot of people have relocated from London who are family oriented. They felt it's better to live outside of London and commute for work to London. So London is not very hospitable, is it? It's not very hospitable. Like when it comes to family life, it's just now 2 women have been reported. One in Brixton, a woman was walking home while talking on the phone to her grandmother and was stabbed. There was no motive. It was just a very, a very bad action that took place. It was for what reason we don't know, whether it was a mental health, it was just violence, unnecessary violence that we continue to see in the city of London. No wonder people are taking their children out of the city or are choosing not to have children. And there are many people who on Twitter got into a discussion and agreed, what, London is not the best place to have a family and to raise kids anyway. London should be the capital, the city where people go there to make money. It's all about making money, the fast life, and corporate world, business. That's what they want London to be, and they want London to represent that. But can we really say a whole city should be cut out just for one thing? Like, I understand that other cities around London where people can live there and travel back and forth with London. It works out cheaper for a lot of people anyway. But yeah, London is not very family friendly, and the statistics are starting to show. Primary schools are they're struggling to keep the lights on because there's a primary school that's been reported to literally only have 40 children. 40 children in a whole primary school. Like, that's how it's it's really bad. And personally, I'm not outraged by this because it's not a terrible idea. London was just it's not safe for children, like especially young boys, and gang violence. A lot of them have been taken out anyway. I remember a lot of gangs being separated and pulled apart, and people being placed in different cities, and I'm guessing it's starting to show now in the statistics. Like, whatever they did like 5-10 years ago is starting to show in the statistics that a lot more people are choosing to do that on their own anyway, without the government assistance, which is fair enough, a fair enough thing to do. I mean, even my own experience in London, when I'm on the underground and I see a mum or a dad or a family with kids, it's just the rush. They're running from one train to another. It's not the kind of environment you want a child in. Personally, I don't think. Like, you're constantly on the go. Even walking on the side path, on the walk, you're walking at twice as fast as you would in any other city. It sounds weird, but in London you need to pick up your pace. Otherwise, you're just getting bumped into and knocked over left, right, and center. So I'm not totally against it. It doesn't surprise me. But when it comes to like university level, obviously as people get older and you want to go to college or university, then I feel like they're old enough to move to university and start a life in London. But for the younger kids, I mean, if people are choosing to do that, then there's a reason. Unfortunately, it's come to where people are choosing to remove their family from London or choosing not to have kids at all because of the circumstances of the city. And that's just the reality of London. And guys, today I will not be able to interact in the comment section due to the nature of how we've had to record today's session. However, I do hope that we were able to get something from the conversation today and, have your own opinion on it as well. You're more than welcome to put that opinion in the comment section, and, I can happily comment on it next week if you want me to do that, or, we can continue the discussion in the comment section. I'm more than happy to do that. But thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Thank you for tuning in today's episode. We'll be seeing you next week on another episode of the Hope Akedika Show. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and get involved on our Instagram channels, the Breakthrough TV on Instagram, the Hope Akedika Show on Instagram, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will see you next time.